Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Well, there's been a lot of issues with the federal workers, and, I don't really blame them. Nobody wants to get out of bed and work for free. So, and this happened really during the first lockdown, too. Not lockdown, shutdown, the longer it lasts, the more people are going to call out. And so history just repeated itself. And a lot of the air traffic controllers, TSA officers started calling out. And now Donald Trump is demanding that the air traffic controllers return to work, all of them. Well, y'all, I can tell you the shutdown is not going to be over at least for another week or two. That's how long this is going to drag out before they literally get everything back up and running. So don't expect anything this week. This week, no, you know, because they still got to get the vote through the House and then get it to Donald Trump. And so it's not going to be an instant thing with them opening the government again. It could be next week or it can be the following week before everything is back up and running. But we know, within the next few weeks, you got your first major holiday on the Gentile calendar, which is, your Black Friday, your Thanksgiving, all that is coming up real soon. So it's still going to be, kind of slow around this time of the year, but it's going to be crazy at the airports. We know it's a big travel season. A lot of people are going to be traveling between November and December. So he wants to get everybody back in place before the mad rush hit. So he's trying to pull also Ronald Reagan. He's also saying if they don't return back to work, he will fire all of them. Now, I don't know how many of you were alive during the time Donald Trump fired the air traffic controller. There were a lot of accidents after that. There were a lot of accidents. And I don't know what Donald Trump is thinking. You fire all of these air traffic controllers at once, it's going to be disastrous. But that's how far he's willing to go. He's willing to threaten to take their jobs. And, the bottom line is these folks have not been paid, y'all, since October 1st. They want their money, and I understand. Donald Trump is a wealthy man. He's not waking up missing out on anything, but these folks are. You really got to, just understand where they're coming from. Y'all should have better provisions in these contracts for government workers instead of cutting them off completely from their pay. Maybe give them like 3/4 of their pay or half of their pay until the government is open. To me, that's more realistic with all of this inflation and bills skyrocketing out here. And they're already telling you that your electric and gas bills are going to double and triple in some areas. And, people, life is not going to stand still waiting for the government to open up. And just the other day, I was reading an article. Donald Trump is still moaning and groaning about giving back pay. I don't see how he can get out of that. If that is from what I understand, that is part of their federal contract. So I don't know how, but then again, Donald Trump don't believe in following rules. He wants to get up and do whatever the hell he wants. So we'll see how this works out. But he just made the demand yesterday that all of these air traffic controllers that have been calling out sick and not showing up for work to get their butts back to work now. So, y'all, yeah, you can't even say it's slave wages because slaves didn't get paid. You're not getting any wages, just like a slave. I mean, and some of these jobs that they're working for free are not easy to do. But hey, it is what it is. You got to be somebody evil to write a contract like that anyway. If the government shuts down, you don't get paid. Sounds crazy to me. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. I really think that's what he wanted. I really do. I think he wanted everybody to be upset and there would be all kinds of fighting and carrying on out in these streets. So that's an excuse to call for martial law. Thank you, everybody.
Right, the social media post from the president just a short time ago, venting some frustration about air traffic controllers. Here's what the president is saying. He says air traffic controllers must get back to work now. Anyone who doesn't will be substantially docked. For those air traffic controllers who were great patriots and didn't take any time off for the Democrat shutdown hoax, I will be recommending a bonus of $10,000 per person for distinguished service to our country. For those that did nothing but complain and took time off, even though everyone knew they would be paid in full shortly in the future, I am not happy with you. The president continuing here in a lengthy social media post, but raising this idea, guys, of a $10,000 sort of stay at work bonus for air traffic controllers who do stay on the job in the midst of this massive shortage that we're seeing of air traffic controllers and cancellation of flights across the country. Not clear what the mechanism is that the president would use to pay that, and not clear what the precedent would be for paying other federal employees. Lots and lots of federal employees still showing up for work, even though they're not getting a paycheck, guys. So this one raising a lot of questions.
Back in business, news overnight that the government shutdown looks to be coming to an end, a relief to many. But what about all the travel chaos? How long will it take to get back to normal? That's what millions of Americans are asking with Thanksgiving just weeks away. Ann Mercogliano has our report.
Travel chaos across America.
It's going to take us at least 90 minutes to take off. Our best case scenario is that we'll be able to leave here in 2 hours.
One family ditched their flight plans and drove 1,600 miles from Nashville to Philadelphia and back to attend a family wedding.
The FAA was going to start decreasing the flights in the major markets. So we just hit the family group chat and said, all right, contingency plan. What's the plan?
That's going to put pedal to the metal and we're going to go.
And they did, making it to Philadelphia in time for the big day.
100% worth it. It was an absolute fun.
Great time.
Sunday was the worst travel day of the 41-day shutdown, with 3,000 cancellations and 10,000 flights delayed. The View's Anna Navarro was stranded for hours in Miami as she tried to find a flight to New York.
Maybe I'll be on The View tomorrow. Maybe I won't.
She made it in time to appear on The View.
I'm one of those people who got caught in airport hell yesterday, but I don't even feel like I have a right to complain because I was going through TSA and there are people there who haven't gotten paychecks.
Now there are fears the chaos will spill over into Thanksgiving. President Trump is ordering air traffic controllers back to work. All air traffic controllers must get back to work now. Anyone who doesn't will be substantially docked, Trump announced. Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy warns that even if the shutdown ends quickly, it will take time for airlines to get back to normal.
You talked about Thanksgiving. Do you have any sort of numerical idea of how many Americans will not be able to be with their families for the holiday because of this?
I think the number is going to be substantial. This is going to live on in air travel well beyond the time frame that this government opens back up.
With so much continued uncertainty about flying, Americans are looking for travel alternatives like trains, buses, and car rentals. Hertz says it's seeing a 20% spike in one-way car rentals over the holiday weekend. Travel expert Pauline Fromer has this advice for people hoping to go home for Thanksgiving.
There may be no Thanksgiving for many people because getting home could be too much of a hassle this year.
What do you recommend?
I recommend getting 2 tickets, believe it or not, 2 round trips. One that hopefully you'll use, one that hopefully you'll be able to cancel.
Breaking news this morning. Here's an update everybody needs to know. President Donald Trump has ordered all air traffic controllers across the U.S. to return to work immediately as the government shutdown has caused thousands of flight cancellations and delays nationwide. Trump threatened pay cuts for controllers who do not comply and suggested a $10,000 bonus for those who kept working. Over 1,600 flights were canceled Monday, today, with more delays expected as the Federal Aviation Administration restricts airport capacity due to staffing shortages. Congress is advancing a bill to end the shutdown, but travel issue may keep growing. If any changes, I'll keep you updated immediately on what's going on with this. 6 credible sources in the description for you as always. Have a good day. Best of your ability.
So Donald Trump is currently lashing out to the air traffic controllers. He's telling air traffic controllers to get back to work now. And he's also urging that if air traffic controllers have continued to work, they should get a $10,000 bonus. But not for everybody, only for those that have worked through the shutdown. I'll read it to you what he's put. All air traffic controllers must get back to work now. Caps, as you can imagine. Trump wrote, anyone who doesn't will be substantially docked. For those air traffic controllers that were great patriots and didn't take any time off for the Democratic shutdown, I will be recommending a bonus of $10,000 per person for distinguished service to our country. Then he goes on to say, I am not happy with you. You didn't step up to help the USA, and he's referring to air traffic controllers that took time off. It's 41 days since they've received pay. It's 41 days. We're on day 41 of the government shutdown, and he's not happy because, of course, air traffic controlling across America is falling apart. And it's his shutdown, by the way. It's not a Democrat shutdown. It's his shutdown. Folks, the source for this is ABC News. My name is Nick. Let me know what you think about this in the comments.
President Trump with the Truth Social a moment ago. We brought this to you. Here we go. Quote now. All air traffic controllers must get back to work now. Anyone who doesn't will be substantially docked. For those air traffic controllers who were great patriots and did not take any time off for the Democrat shutdown hoax, I will be recommending a bonus of $10,000 per person for distinguished service to our country. Okay, and truth. We'll see if that comes to pass, as we say, but back from the White House just a moment ago.
Legislators are the one who need their pay docked.
To any air traffic controller that suffered through this process and still showed up every day to work without collecting a paycheck, Donald Trump is recommending a $10,000 bonus for each and every one of you. And to the rest of the air traffic controllers that did not show up for work, he's telling you right now to get back to work immediately, or you will be in jeopardy of being substantially docked. The people that never left their position, Donald Trump referred to them as incredible patriots, praising them for standing tall and standing strong. But the shutdown is over, and it's now time for everybody to get back to work and get these airports fully functioning again as we've got November Thanksgiving travel right upon us. And I have to tell you, in my lifetime, I've been furloughed before, and I've never left my post. I did everything I can in my power to keep our company running. For those other air traffic controllers that did nothing but complain, stopped showing up for work, and didn't get to their job, it clearly defines the type of human being you really are. You left your post, the airline companies needed you, and the only thing that they meant to you was a paycheck. You couldn't care less if they went in or out of business. But if you weren't getting paid, you wouldn't show up to work. Even though you all knew that you were going to receive the back pay that was coming to you over the past 40 days of this government shutdown.
The friendly skies are getting some unfriendly fire directly from the President of the United States. That's right, President Trump just threatened to replace air traffic controllers. Online today, he demanded they report to work immediately, in all caps, so I apologize for yelling, and warned that anyone who didn't show up would have their pay substantially docked. Meanwhile, if you did show up and didn't miss a day, well, you might get a bonus of $10,000, but only if you're a true patriot. Whatever that means. By the way, those same controllers are working without pay during the longest federal shutdown in U.S. history. Flight delays are through the roof. Airlines are freaking out and had to cancel hundreds of flights, and the FAA is juggling understaffed towers and unpaid workers. Here's sanity check number 8020. The president just threatened air traffic controllers. Yes, the folks literally keeping our skies safe during a government shutdown, making America great by attacking the people keeping our flights safe. This has been Viral Information, and there's more where that came from.
Look, y'all, the only ones that should have their pay docked is Donald Trump, the Senate, and Congress. Those are the only ones that should have their pay docked. And I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. You know, there are a lot of federal workers that still went to work every day. Why are they excluded from getting a $10,000 bonus? You know, think about the people that work for the Department of Human Services, and they had to deal with the public screaming over the EBT cards, and there was nothing they could do. But they had to sit on them jobs and endure being attacked because cards were not being funded. So those folks aren't entitled to a $10,000 bonus for what they had to endure. You know, no, I don't think you pick and choose like that. You know, Donald Trump, look, y'all, you got to listen to the wording of that. For the air traffic controllers that showed up every day, he recommends a $10,000 bonus. He didn't say he was going to give it. He's just going to recommend it. And we know how Donald Trump pays. All right. We still waiting for that Doge money, aren't we? What happened to that Doge money that was supposed to go out to everybody? And now it's all this chatter about the $2,000 dividends checks that are going to go out to everybody that he's trying to get them. You know what? Maybe when I do my next live stream, we'll talk about that, because you know, there's still a lot of chatter about that, and I think everybody don't fully understand what's going on. So I'll touch on that maybe in a few hours. I'll come back and we'll touch on that. But yeah, a 50-year mortgage. I mean, what if you're in your 40s and you're buying a house? So you're in debt until you're 90? That is outrageous. I'm sorry. That's outrageous. That's outrageous. So if you are, let's say you are up in age and you just want to get a retirement home, you want to get a place where this is going to be your final home that you get. So you're already maybe 50, 60 years old. You're going to be 100 years old. It's going to take that long to pay off your mortgage. I mean, no, that's not helpful. Why don't you bring down these damn prices? Housing is way too out of control. The prices need to come down. These houses out here are overpriced. The rent is overpriced. You would do better by the people if you drive down some of the cost. Giving somebody a 50-year mortgage. Think about it. Even our young people, if you're in your 20s or 30s, you're going to be in your 70s and 80 years old. Yeah, in your 80s by the time you pay this mortgage off. Hell no. Who would look forward to that? You know, anything to keep milking money from the people. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Everything out here is ridiculous. And I can't look, I'm already paying an arm and a leg for my electricity and gas. You think, and they're talking about everybody is going up in the country? That is crazy. I mean, how much money do these damn rich people need? This is ridiculous. Mhm. He gonna get that revolt, but it's gonna be just like up at that Commander Stadium. It's gonna be his people out there in the streets fighting. See, that's what he don't see coming. See, they have lied about us for so long that they think any violence jumping off in the country, it's going to always be us. No, it ain't. It's going to always be y'all because you're the one with that footprint in the country of always being out in these streets revolting. That's y'all. That ain't us. And when we do go out there, at least we go out there for a good cause. Somebody got wrongfully extinguished by the police. Y'all be turning cars over because your favorite team won. Okay, what kind of crap is that? Mm-hmm. We're not the one raising all these prices up in here. It's not us. Mm-mm-mm. We'll see how this all goes. We'll see how hopefully everybody will get paid once the government comes back up. I sure hope so, because I really feel bad when I saw how many of those federal workers were in food lines and stuff. And you could tell some of them, you could look at them and tell they felt humiliated. They never had to resort to that before. This morning I was out and about in my area, and there's a church like not far from where I live, and there was a whole line of cars out there waiting on getting food from the church. You should have seen it. It was cones up in the parking lot, and you could see they were trying their best to organize the whole thing, but it was just cars on top of cars inside of this parking lot. And these are all people trying to get food to survive. And that's really sad that it came down to this. So, y'all, I am going to conclude. I thank you for being here. And like I said, I'm going to put together that $2,000 dividends that Donald Trump is yapping about all in the media. So you can understand what he's talking about and how he wants to get all this money. And, the only reason why he wants to do this is because, see, the Republicans got slaughtered. Okay, in these last elections that took place about a week ago, they got slaughtered. So he's looking to do whatever he needs to do to get people to come right back to the GOP and vote for his candidates and the people that he got picked for 2026. And he figured the best way to do it is to put money in everybody's pockets. So, y'all, thank you so much for being here. Please share these videos. And don't forget, if you go over to my store on Etsy, you can get the hair gel for 20% off. Okay. That will be over as of the 13th. So grab it while you can. I got a lot available. So, y'all, I will see you in a few hours. Shalom, family.